The Gen 3 Joolas are the most hyped paddles on the market right now, but there are some things that you should watch out for. These may be the most hyped paddles and everyone wants them because of the insane power that you can get, but there are some quality control aspects of this paddle that might deter you from buying them, so I will share all of those with you. Before getting into things to know about this paddle, this fact isn't really a pro or con, but do know that the 14mm and 16mm feels different for different types of people. I personally found a lot more control in the 14mm, even though 16mm paddles are known to have more control. This doesn't really make sense in practice, but a lot of people have been saying the same thing about this paddle. So do know that there is that inconsistency, and it is best for you to go in person to a store and try the 14mm and 16mm, because you do not know off the face if the 14 or 16 feels better for you. If you want more control, getting the 16mm might not necessarily be the best decision. So just note that in case you were trying to get a Joola Gen 3 paddle. Throughout the video, we will go through the pros, the cons, and some advisory things to know about the paddle regarding quality control, and these things might deter you from wanting to buy the paddle, so you definitely need to know this information, and all the timestamps will be throughout the video so you can skip to any part you want to. So going over the pros of the paddle, for this paddle is an absolute tennis racket. It's getting insane power and pop, which is not normal for paddles on the market. I'm getting extreme topspin drives that I don't normally get using other paddles, as I need to scoop those shots more, but I can really just hit these ones pretty flat across with added topspin to get insane power. The pop on the paddles is also insane, really just putting zero effort into getting any push on the balls, and you really notice this with resets. The resets with this paddle are really good, and you can really just put your paddle where the ball is coming from and the ball will go over the net regardless of any shot you're doing. Now I will say dinks at the net as well don't really suffer too much from the power and pop of this paddle, as you get really nice depth on the ball, so that's not a really big issue. The last pro that we're going over is the hand speed at the kitchen. Now the paddle is a little bit heavier, and I'm comparing this to the paddles that I've used in the past, like the Perseus and the 60 Ruby. The 60 Ruby is by far the fastest in terms of hands at the kitchen, but that is all made up through the fact that this paddle absolutely hits balls like a rocket. Hitting these balls against Jack here, he had a really hard time even getting the ball back, and that is a really big thing about this paddle. The pop is insane, and it just comes so hot off your paddle. People won't have enough time to react to the ball if you do a speed up. So those are the main pros of this paddle. Going on to the cons of this paddle, I do think drops do suffer a lot, and that's because this paddle has a break-in period where it gets hotter over time, and I just think that for the average consumer, they'll lose control over time, and they'll find it trickier to get quality drops over time using the paddle. That is pretty much the only con for the paddle, so that makes up the pros and cons, but what adds to the cons category is the quality control for this paddle. In my podcast on my channel, which you guys should go check out by the way, we talk about the Gen 3 paddles and what to look out for regarding the quality control of the paddle. So here's the clip from that podcast episode.
And you won't get deviation in grit, which the Joolas do, which is a big concern lately because they're all different. And we actually went to the LA Open, me and a couple other people in the club, and at the booth, like the Joola people who were selling the paddle, they were like, oh, are you sure you want that paddle? You don't want to feel the grit for the paddles? A lot of people have been coming to the booth and feeling the grit of the paddles to make sure that's the one they want, and they're like laughing. That's not a funny thing.
Like, there should not be differences in your grit.
The paddle's $300. That shouldn't be a known thing among your consumers.
You should know what you're getting here.
And also, I ordered mine online. I ordered a Perseus and Magnus.
Here we go.
They sent 2 Perseuses, and I didn't get the Magnus. And there was just like this whole charades with the people online, like, oh, you gotta go out of your way, go down a mile to go send us the paddle back, and then we'll send you the Magnus back. Like, no, give me my money back or send me the Magnus.
The last thing to know about this paddle is that when using it, the grip was really squeaky. So we took off the Joola factory grip, and we noticed that there's this plastic lining underneath, like seen in this video. And I'm not sure if this is a packaging error where they accidentally package plastic underneath when they grip the paddle, but this is definitely not supposed to be here, so we had to take it off. This just adds to the growing quality control issues that Joola is having. Those are the pros, cons, and what to look out for with a Gen 3 paddle, and you can ultimately decide whether you want to go out and purchase the paddle or not, but these are definitely big issues to look out for. Now, with the release of the Gen 3 paddle, it is on the pricier side, going almost $300, especially if you're trying to buy in person. With tax, it'll definitely get to that price tag. A lot of similar paddles are coming out with the same structure in getting power and pop in the industry for the months to come. So you don't necessarily feel like you're missing out if you don't get the Gen 3 paddles, because there's more paddles that are coming to the market that are going to be just like this. So don't feel peer pressured into getting the paddle. But anyways, that covers the entirety of what this paddle line is about. All the paddles are pretty much the same with the propulsion core, and determining which one you want is just based off of the handle size, the face of the paddle, and etc. So that is pretty much it, guys. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.